Hey friends, my name's Miriam, if you didn't know that already, and I'm a poet amongst other things, and I'm sitting in an armchair, which you may be able to see, so hence the armchair poet. And I wanted to share some poetry with you today on the relationship between productivity and identity and success. And that's a word I've been thinking about quite a bit lately, is what does it mean for a day to be a successful day, quote unquote. What does it mean to feel like I've achieved something? Does it mean that I have gotten out of bed that day? Does it mean that I've gone on a run? Does it mean that I have written something or done some work or called a friend? What are the things that define my success? So I wanted to share 4 pieces with you today that have to do with those questions of what is success, how does it tie in with creativity? Because for me, creativity is this really important thing. It's really life-giving. It's something that's really good to be disciplined about. But I also don't want it to be this extra stick to beat myself with. So these are some poems on those reflections, and I hope you enjoy them. I shouldn't have put them so far down to the ground. Here we go. It's my ab workout for the day. The first piece is called Success, appropriately. And it goes like this. After a day of discussing art and reading Rilke. Oh, I do desire success. Of a particular shape. Of course, my competency proved by early morning starts, disciplined daily tasks and exercise and diligence, and worth defined by meal size and how many sweet or soft things I said no to. I want my value to be proved in discipline and dependability, the same run at the same time, a life carefully measured out in coffee spoons. Does Eliot roll in his grave? Oh, I do want it. But last night I came home weary, overwhelmed from a dinner of deep discussions with friends, words of counsel, times of silence, words to mend, and then I woke up weary. So I gave grace, or was it laziness? I lowered my standards of success back down to reality again. I spent a day, was it just lazy, that was meant to be full of tasks fulfilled and life completed, a success, instead sitting with a friend, planning art, sharing heart, weaving dreams of red and blue around the shapes of events and dates, creating and preparing art, drinking tea. Later, I returned home to prepare and share my muddling home, to offer hospitality. So, am I a success? Partially powered by guilty conscience and a misplaced ideal of a Protestant work ethic, am I lazy? I daily must ask and walk. What is success? Am I adult? Human? Am I doing it right? Am I lazy? A shame? A fool? A joy? Success? And daily I discover, yes. The end. I went to a poetry performance once where a performer, every time he finished a page, would just throw the page down. So that's what I'm going to do, although he did a much better job. It was really dramatic when he did it. He didn't hit himself in the face with a poem. The second piece I wanted to share with you was written a couple of years ago in the month of April in a challenge called the Dirty 30, which you may have heard of. It's a month worth of prompts throughout the whole month of April, and you can find it on Facebook. This particular poet puts up all of these prompts and a whole bunch of other poets respond to them. So I don't remember the prompt for this, but this is the poem that came out of it, and it's called Poet. To quote a quote, interviewers asked famous writers why they write, writes Annie Lamott in her book about writing, Bird by Bird, and it was the poet John Ashby who answered, because I want to. Flannery O'Connor answered, because I'm good at it, and when the occasional interviewer asked me, I quote them both. End quote. It took me a long time to call myself poet. I'd say, I write poetry, but I'm not a poet. As if claiming the title was to pluck fruit from someone else's garden, probably a brooding Byron or a frowning Frost, who would peer down noble noses at me and query by what right I was using the word. I remember that there was a moment when I felt comfortable to claim that title, leaping over garden fence and grabbing fruit, standing and snarling my defiant ground when ancient, hypothetical judgment challenged my prerogative to the title. But I don't remember what it was. One day I just knew this was a name that was mine. I do love it. And sometimes I wonder if I should quit my day job, pull a Kerouac, and try to be that next step, a person who lives by the seat of my pants off the profit or the prophet of my writing. Mostly I say, well, I can't spend my whole life writing. I'd have nothing to write about. Though in my heart of hearts, I know that's not true. People have lived to write and written to live before. Maybe I will too, one day. But while I am, as of just recently, putting poet first on my online dating profile or in answers to strangers about what I do, what strange question, what do you do? I sleep, I pray, I poop, I dream, I brunch, I friend, I daughter, I seem, sometimes I even gym. What do you mean, what do I do? But that's a question for another poem. Still, I'm not sure I'm ready to only say poet when people ask me who I am. See, the joy of this thing, this mystical thing, this wondrous poetical adventuring thing called writing, is that when used as an adjective, not a noun, it gives me wings. Not a box, not chains. It frees me to fly. Why do I write? Because I'm good at it, and because I want to. But in the end, who I am, where I start and end, live and breathe, the thing that holds the heart of me, a heart that is expressed in writing, the noun of that is God's. The end. Let's try again. Oh, that was so much better. The third piece I wanted to read to you is in my second book called The Weight of Hope. You can see the title there. And it was written in between when my first and second books came out. And it was a period when the momentum of my first book was starting to slow down and I wasn't writing as much and I wasn't sure when or if another book would come out. And I was trying to reflect on what that meant for me. It's called Protecting the Unseen. And it goes like this. I wrote some poetry today. Profound and random reflections, insights, wisdom, depths. You would have liked it, I think. But it will stay just where it is in silence, because while my Facebook writings page sits empty like the old car factories in downtown Detroit, and while no one has asked to buy my book in a little while, and while I have entered no competitions and won no lauded prizes in quite some time, I am practicing the art of art for the sake of art. And art is a funny thing, especially if it's light, because who is it really for? And I will share more with you when I'm ready. But for now, I'm practicing the art of art for the sake of art. I'm writing in my own journal, not in rough draft notebooks, and I'm slowly cutting the ties in ever-going battle between self-worth and Facebook likes, and beneath all that, I am practicing the art of worth for the sake of worth. Beauty for the sake of beauty. Perhaps even just me for the sake of me. Because I must daily choose to remember I am still me. Even if I were never to write another poem. Now clearly I did write other poems, hence the book. But it's a good reminder for me. I'll finish off with a piece that I did not write at all. In fact, a very dear friend of mine called John Iglesias wrote it. It's in his book called If the World Were Upside Down. And can I please commend this book and him and his work to you? It's brilliant. And I share this with permission because I thought it just captures some of the questions that we're all asking at the moment. It's called What Do I Birth? What do I birth? What do I bring into being by being? In my life, in this world, what words do I mother? What thoughts do I nurture? What attitudes do I adopt? What dreams do I conceive? What actions do I raise? What will survive me when I am no longer here? What do I birth? What do I bring into being by being? Isn't that a question for you? I hope you continue to have a good day, whether it is successful or not, by whatever definition you're using. But don't forget, in the midst of all of it, that you are fully seen, fully known, and fully loved. I'll chat to you next time. Bye.